Hey, it's Heidi. Welcome back for another video. In case you're new here, I help people fix their relationships, whether it's a narcissistic or a toxic or dysfunctional person in your life, addiction in your family dynamic somewhere. Here's the truth. You could have everything else, but if you have a relationship like that causes you anxiety, resentment, confusion, or pain, you'll be left wondering what's the point of anything, because you'll constantly feel those feelings. And so my wish and my aim is to come alongside of you and equip you with the tools, resources, insight, understanding, and perspective that you need to do a couple things. I want to help you root down in your power, find your authentic power, okay? Find and speak your truth, and then take your power back from the people in your life that are robbing you of the joy that you so desperately deserve. And one of those relationships that's probably one of the hardest relationships to navigate on the planet is a relationship with a toxic parent. Now look, I'm not a doctor, I'm a coach. I'm a master certified coach. I have lots of experience and expertise in dealing in toxicity and dysfunction. But when I say narcissistic, I'm not looking to diagnose your family member, all right, your parent. What I'm going to ask you though is, when you're around that person, do you constantly feel bad? Do you feel drained? Do you feel like you have a power leak? Do you feel like when you leave their presence, you feel worse about yourself than when you arrived? Do you feel like you're always justifying your position, rationalizing your behavior, defending yourself, or trying to win them over? And if you do, then likely this person is a toxic person, even if it's your parent. Now, why is this so hard? Well, because in our society, it's not okay to not be loving or kind or put up with your parent. All right, you're supposed to. How could you do that? It's your duty as a daughter or a son to be loving no matter what, to accept. That's the person who brought you into the world, maybe, right? If it's a mother relationship, well, you're supposed to love your mother no matter what. Well, are you supposed to sign up to get hurt over and over again no matter what? Just because you're brought into this situation, does that mean that you're supposed to sacrifice yourself over and over again and live a life less than you deserve and constantly be in pain? I don't think so. So yes, we give reverence to the people who brought us into this world, but I'm going to tell you right now, that doesn't mean that you have to continually subject yourself to abuse and hurt on the regular. You deserve better than that. I'm going to help you understand how to get better than that. All right. There are 3 steps when you're dealing with a toxic or dysfunctional or narcissistic parent that I want you to consider today. And these are things that I've applied in my own life with my own unique situation, okay, that have helped me restore my sanity and peace and self-love. Because I know what's going to happen if you don't take control of this. Likely what's going to happen is that you're going to continually have this power leak in your life. You're going to continue to be robbed of your self-esteem. And self-esteem is the thing that's necessary in your life to get anything done. Self-esteem is the thing that you have in your life that helps you pull the trigger on your goals and dreams. It's the thing that helps you believe in yourself enough to go after the things that you deserve and you want. And if you have a relationship that constantly sucks your self-esteem away by making you feel less than, or somebody's controlling you, trying to control your thoughts or behavior, or manipulating you, or making you just feel bad in general, it's a leak of your power. And over time, you end up powerless. Well, that's a decision that we need to make right now today, you and I, is a decision to actually take our power back. All right? We get to choose at this point in our lives. Maybe when you were growing up, you didn't have that choice. You were subjected to that insanity on a regular basis, right? You were there. You couldn't get out. You couldn't do whatever, and you were a true victim in that situation. But I want you to go to a victor now, because here's what I want you to know for sure. Right now, the only thing you ever have is a choice. A choice about how you're going to experience people, a choice about who you're going to allow into your life, a choice of who you're going to allow into your heart or into your head, because the only thing that you have control over right now is this. It's you. It's your mind. It's your ability to make sense of things or put things into perspective, and that's what I want to help you do. I want to help you get your sanity back along with your power, because Lord knows it makes you feel like you're going crazy. So these are the things that have worked for me, and these are the things that have worked for the clients that have hundreds of clients that I've helped throughout the years. As you can imagine, a lot of my students and clients wrestle with very similar things. In fact, so much so that I have a master class that's going on right now. Check it out over at lovecoachheidi.com on how to fix your relationships and take your power back. Look over there and see if this lines up with you, and if it does, go ahead and sign up for the master class. Let's get into the steps though. How do you set a boundary with a toxic or narcissistic parent? The first thing that we have to do, step number 1 in the 3 steps, is see them clearly. And what I mean by that is we have to disassociate from the role they're in and associate to the person they really are. See, when you're dealing with somebody that's a parent and you see them as mom or dad, you're in trouble. You're in trouble because you get caught into this kind of self-righteous position, which is nothing wrong, right? Because you're a righteous person. You know right from wrong, and you know mom shouldn't treat you that way. You know dad shouldn't behave that way. But the reality is when you keep them hostage to the role that you put them in, you don't really see them for who they really are, and you can't do anything because you're not dealing in reality, right? As long as I say, well, mom shouldn't behave that way, I personalize her behavior. I make her behavior about me. Well, my mom must not love me. Well, my mom's hurtful. Why is my mom hurtful to me? Well, I must let my mom hurt me because that's what good daughters do, right? Good daughters just put up with whatever, right? Be a good girl. Don't make any waves. Don't break any eggs. Don't rock the boat. And so when I keep her in mom role, I'm in trouble. So I got to take her out of mom role. And I got to put her in Karen or Judy or whatever her name happens to be, and start dealing in the reality of who this person really is. That's step number 1. Detach from the role that you put somebody in and deal with the reality of who they are instead. You go from personalizing their behavior to depersonalizing their behavior when you're able to see this person clearly. So step number 1 is do that. Step number 2 is start to see their behavior for what it is. Now that you're out of the role, and ask yourself, what am I not okay with? I want you to make a list of what you're available for and unavailable for. What behaviors you're available for and what behaviors you're unavailable for from this point moving forward. Well, I'm unavailable for shaming. I'm unavailable for having to justify my position all the time. I'm unavailable for being talked out of my feelings. I'm unavailable for just plain old meanness, right? Or verbal abuse. I'm unavailable for constant criticism or condemnation, all right? I'm unavailable for those things. And then step 3 is you communicate that to the person that you're dealing with, all right? Number 1, disassociate and depersonalize their behavior. It's not about you, it's about them. People behave the way they behave, not the way they're supposed to behave in the role that you put them in, okay? Number 2, decide what you're available for and unavailable for. And step number 3, communicate that to the person. And then step number 4 is a bonus step. When they do the thing that you're unavailable for, that's when you make your move. That's when you do the thing that you told them you were going to do. You actually hold the bottom line on your boundary. Now, I know this is so much easier said than done. Here we are. Now I'm giving you 4 steps, right? A bonus step. Well, Heidi, that sounds really simple and easy. How come it's the hardest thing in the world to do? Because you're still in it. Because you're still attached. Because you still want your mother's love desperately, even though you're however old you are in your life. You still want that connection. You still want her approval. You still want her warmth. You still want her to be connected to you. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, because I think inherently we all want that. But what if it were possible for you to fulfill the needs yourself and become the mother you never had? What if it were possible for you to be the mother you've always wanted? And what if you got so good at caring for yourself and nurturing yourself and believing in yourself and approving of yourself that you never needed an outside source to validate you ever again? What would your life be like if you were able to be your own biggest fan, your own biggest cheerleader, right? We're talking about reparenting here. But in order for you to get there, you've got to first release the hostage. And the hostage is the parent you keep holding hostage to unrealistic expectations that they are never, hear me now, never, not ever going to meet. The pat on the back is never coming. The apology is never coming. The I'm sorry is never coming. The I shouldn't behave that way is never coming. Why? Because a dog barks. Okay? Because the sun shines. And because a narcissistic parent is a narcissist. A toxic person is toxic. And they do what toxic people do. They don't do what mothers do. They do what toxic people do. And so you have to start differentiating the person from the role you put them in, figuring out what you're available for and unavailable for, and then finally communicating that, and then holding yourself responsible, right, to actually meaning what you say. And like I was saying, I do know it's easier said than done. That's why I've dedicated a whole program to it. That's why I have a whole program, a whole school that I created called Life School, which stands for Love Yourself First Empowerment School, because it's for people like me and you that have been longing for the approval and the validation and the I see you and the I'm sorry, and realize that it's we who need to love ourselves. It's us who need to take care of ourselves. It's we who need to stand up and know our own value and speak our truth and stand rooted, right? Become like a willow tree, rooted in your value and flexible. You don't get broken down, but when somebody comes along and says that thing to you or hurts your feelings or breaks you off your axis, you're flexible. You don't get broken down anymore. You know how to dance in the storms of life, right? Because you're rooted in your value. I want that for you. If you're interested in learning more about how to become the mother you never had, about how to be your parent, your biggest fan, your cheerleader, head over to lovecoachheidi.com. Request a complimentary consultation or sign up if it suits you for that free masterclass that I'm doing called How to Fix Your Relationships and Take Your Power Back Now. All right. I love you. Make sure you're subscribed to these videos because, again, you can come here and get the insight that you need and the education or inspiration that you need to make the small changes that are going to lead to a big difference in your life. I love you. Take excellent care. I'll see you really soon. Bye-bye.